Well, good evening. We're back from the weekend. We survived it. I hope you did too. I am Buddy Martin. This is the Buddy Martin Show. We're with you 4 nights a week and sometimes more. But this week, Meldon Law Monday kicks it off. Got a great lineup of guests for you. A few thoughts about what happened over the weekend, including the Orange and Blue game. What did you do? What did you see? What did you think? And also, of course, a little bit about the Masters. We always have to talk about the Masters, even though it's not a Gator sport that we loved anyway. So, gather around tonight. We'll have a small group here to talk about what we like talking about, mostly Gator sports. Check us out. Coming up right off the top of the bat will be Shane Mathews. Stay tuned for the Buddy Martin Show.
Yes, time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. Welcome to the Buddy Martin Show. We're live. Let me be on Shane Mathews Show tomorrow morning. Oh, yeah, we will be there with Shane. Pot up with Mathews. We'll be talking to Shane in just a moment. Did you have fun watching the Masters? I know not everybody's a golf fan, but Masters transcends golf, I think. I said in my column yesterday, this is my favorite event, has been for all these years. I love it. And I've been lucky enough to be able to sandwich in the Orange and Blue game with the Masters. I have actually flown back from Augusta on several occasions to see the Orange and Blue game. Yeah, that's what I did. People think I'm crazy, but I've done that. Of course, I didn't get to go up to Augusta. Haven't been there in about 10 years, but they do such a great job. What do you think of the CBS broadcast? I saw some people trashing it today. I thought, you don't know what you're talking about. For A, you've never been up there. B, you don't know what they're doing there. I thought their broadcast was sensational over the weekend. The shots, the angles, the conversation, the great goodbye from Vern Lundquist, which I thought was really good. And I just enjoyed it. It's a made-for-TV event, and I actually sit there almost 4 days and watch it. I love it. This guy loves it, too. He watches it. Of course, he watches golf, no matter who's playing, but he watched that, I guarantee you. Good afternoon, good morning, and hello to Shane Mathews, the host of Pot Up with Mathews, who's in his easy chair with one of his many 50,000 T-shirts, sitting back, relaxing, enjoying. Why are you so hard on JC in the morning? I heard you two talking today. Y'all were going at it pretty good, Shane.
Because his point made no sense, buddy. He asked what I thought Vegas's win total would be. And I said probably around 5.5 or 6 like last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes off, well, I thought people were expecting this team to be better. Well, the team expects to be better. The coaches expect to be better. But he asked me what I thought the win total was going to be. That's what I told him. So it made no sense what he was arguing, in my opinion.
You boys shouldn't fight. You're good friends. Anyway, the bottom line is you and I have our disagreements. But I noticed he hit you up about those midweek games as well in baseball, which we'll talk about later on. Let's get off to the right start. It's a new week. We got to see some football last week. It wasn't. It was tackle football, but it really wasn't. It was, it was the real thing, but the closest thing to it. I came away, I don't have any grand delusions or any great observations, but I just try to watch for certain players and certain things. And I guess it's a feel. Shane, I heard some things you said secondhand from people that you said to them about players. I don't know if they're accurate or not. And I wanted to get your take off the top again. Again, I know it's a spring game. I heard you say again it won't relate anyway whatsoever to the August 31st date. But the fact is, these are players a lot of us have not seen before. We have a little better idea. So if you're going there to kick the tires, you get a little bit better look at what this team looks like. And so there were a couple of things I liked, which I'll share with you. But let's go first with you.
Well, I don't know if I told you, buddy, but I've been telling people that the running back room is in good hands.
Yeah.
The two true freshmen, the kid Jaden Ball from Georgia and the kid Katie Daniels from Mississippi, are elite running backs. And then you got Montrell Johnson, who's the starter, Trayon Webb, who played a lot last year as a freshman. So the running back room ain't missing a beat. I think the offensive line is going to be better. It's still hard to tell.
It is hard to tell.
But I think the one thing they're missing on offense is there's been rumors that they're going to try to find another receiver in the portal. I like the receivers. Sometimes these highly acclaimed kids don't come about, don't produce fast enough, I guess. I really liked Andy Jean, but he's been hurt. I don't know what his deal is. But I like the kid from Wisconsin, DK. He's a veteran guy. He knows how to run routes. We all know about Trey Wilson. I was hoping they'd take Trey Wilson out after the first quarter. And then Aiden Mizell's made some plays. We know Khalil Jackson can make some plays. But they really need another electrifying wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think the offense can be very, very good. Defensively, I love.
You didn't
LJ
like
McCray.
Burke in there at all. You didn't think Burke looked pretty good as a wide receiver.
Well, I like Burke. He's been here. Gosh, he's been here 4 or 5 years.
But he's supposedly had a really great spring. Supposedly.
Yeah. Well, it's time for him. I mean, he looks pretty in his uniform. Let me tell you something. He's 6'5"ish, can run. But yeah, he's had his opportunities, and he's probably going to get an opportunity this year. He's got to go play and make plays. Defensively, LJ McCray is a kid that can cause some problems. He's going to be a heck of a player.
The good kind.
I love our secondary. I love our corners, Devin Moore and Henderson Jr. I know a lot of people don't like them, but I do. I think if we can pressure the quarterback a little bit, you will see why they're going to be NFL corners. But the biggest part of the secondary are the safeties. Asa Turner, the transfer from Washington, DJ Douglas, transfer from Tulane. You got Chikwueze, what's Chikweeze's last name? I can't think. The kid from Oregon who's going to play a little bit everywhere in the secondary. And then Pup Howard, the transfer from South Carolina. So, again, I know the schedule's hard. It is what it is. Embrace it. But if we can rush the passer with the front four, you don't have to sack the quarterback, but get pressure on the quarterback, I think this team can win some games. I really do.
Good to hear it. I wanted to just make a couple of small observations. I'm on the record as having said I thought, obviously, it didn't take a Phi Beta Kappa to figure out that the quarterback, Lagway, is something special. But I like to see him on the hoof, which I had not really seen except for a little workout. And the three names that caught my eye, three people caught my eye, and I watched it in person, was, first of all, I really like Ball. Not Sammy Ball, by the way. His last name was Ball. I thought he was really quite special. And I could see it when they handed the ball to him the second time. I didn't know anything about this kid. I see him out there. Big kid. He's got some moves. He's got bursts of speed. He's got good footwork. He looks like he knows his way around us, on a football field. I really like what I saw. I had to scramble and look him up and see what he was. I thought he looked terrific. And then Trey Wilson, what can you say about Trey Wilson? This guy is a star in the making, big time. He can be up there with the best of them. He's got speed. He's got leapability. He's got good hands. He knows how to get open. I love Trey Wilson. And then, of course, Lagway. Lagway was everything and on the hoof I thought he would be. And you say, well, how can you tell, buddy? Well, I can't tell. My eyes don't deceive me. I see his footwork. I see, you know what he does? He gets rid of the ball quick. He flicks that ball like that. He can run, throw on the move. He's got good balance. He's got good vision. Made a couple of really good throws. He's escapability. He looks like he's physical. I love everything about DJ Lagway, just like I thought we would, and I'm impressed. I see no reason why this guy. We talk about good players. Graham Mertz is a good quarterback, and maybe a little bit better than that. DJ Lagway could be a great player. He could be a great player. Now, I'm not saying he is now. I'm just seeing what I see there. To me, it looks like potential greatness, Shane.
I mean, he's talented. That's the best DJ looked all spring, in my opinion. He made plays. Again, I don't want to jump the gun because the spring game was so vanilla from a scheme standpoint. He threw the ball well at times, missed some throws here and there, but yeah, he's a talented kid. But I still don't know how much he's going to play this year. This is Graham Mertz's team.
Oh yeah, no, I think this is long haul we're talking about. But he's okay right where he is, getting a few snaps. But the little things, Shane, and a quarterback, your coach taught you about the little things and playing quarterback. But one of the things I love, his ball faking is really good. He handles the ball well. He runs out of fake. He makes it look like a real fake, the little things he does on the field caught my eye right away. And I love that about a quarterback. When he pays attention to the details, he knows where his players are. When they break from the huddle, he seems like they know where they're supposed to line up. He's got his eye over here. He just looks like he's aware more than the average quarterback.
Well, I mean, he's a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he is.
Again, it was very, very vanilla what they asked him to do. He did do some good things. Like I said, it's the best he looked in the 4 or 5 practices I saw. That was clearly the best he performed.
Well, throwing the end zone was big time. Put it right.
It was a very good throw. I will say this, and Coach Spurrier will tell you this. This is a play that we used to run. It was righty and lefty, we called it. He looked the wrong safety off, though.
Did he?
The touchdown that Graham threw, the deep ball was the same play. He looked the correct safety off, and that's why the guy was more open. But DJ threw a good ball in there, but you got to be careful because he looked the wrong safety off, and the other safety made a bad play.
Not careful, yeah. Did not know. Those are the finer points a quarterback that you can bring. But anyway, I like what we got there. So just to assess it, and we're going to have Rob Browne on here in a minute talk about the rest of the league and what's going on there. It kind of looked a little bit like a football game. Well, I mean, that's one thing they haven't always done. I've seen some, when Muller was there, it looked like a couple of picnics out there. It looked like a real football game for the most part. It was a good day for Gator fans. The people shopped. Freddie Weeby's folks, Florida Victorious, did a really good job of making it entertaining, I thought. A lot going on, giving away the car and all that sort of stuff from Davis Chevrolet. The fans were late arriving, but they showed up 48,000 strong. And people seemed to have a good time. And as far as I could tell, the autograph session for the Florida Victorious members down on the field went well afterwards, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as the broadcast was over, I hightailed it home so I could watch the
Masters. We're going to talk about that some. I loved it. I really loved it. And I don't know if I want to go up there again because Shane, those hills are steep. When you kind of hustle out there and back, our routine was always that we would be at Amen Corner when the leaders came through. You have to get back to the media center and watch the last 3 or 4 holes on TV because you'll never be able to find out what's going on. There's too much going on around the course to be able to try to see it in person. So the drill for 40 years, 50 years was, go out there in Amen Corner, watch the leaders hit tee off on 13, play 12, tee off 13, then you scamper back to the media center to watch those final few holes where it always seems to happen. And, man, we'll get into it in a minute, but, I mean, talk about a killer instinct. Scotty Scheffler looked like a beast.
He's good, man. He may be the best golfer I've ever seen, buddy.
Really?
Well, I say that. I mean,
better than Tiger?
Well, I'm not saying he's better than Tiger right now, but I do personally think winning on tour now is so much harder than it was when Tiger was around. A couple of buddies of mine were on a chat the other day. I think it was Sunday or Saturday. And I was like, if you look at the top 20 players, top 15 players in the world right now, they are so talented. Dude sent me a list of the top players, top 15 in the world in like 1996 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that list could even compare to today's list. Now, it's always what you see right now that kind of intrigues you. But, buddy, I mean, he is just dominating really good golfers. And I mean, he's the best ball striker. You know, they say he's the best ball striker ever on tour. I can't disagree with that. I've never seen anybody hit the golf ball like he does.
He does hit it great, no question about it. Even that little shuffle he does at the end there. I'm sure people are out trying to imitate that today on the driving range. But anyway, it was a fun thing to watch, and it's always a good week for me when I get to watch the Masters and go watch the little Gator football, and wrote a column about that this past week, what that's like. And to be able to cover the two things you love the most. And I was able to do that for a lot of years. For a lot of years, I would cover them both live. Only this year, I did not get to Augusta, but I sure enjoyed watching. And they do such a great job. Frank Chirkinian invented television golf. He was one who started putting the Masters on. He invented the score to par, how it worked, and everything else. And the Masters was always a showcase. We learned how to cover golf by watching the Masters. And what they've done is, it's amazing they've done it so well so long, Shane. It's amazing. You still have that feeling about it. If I walked in the gates again today, I would, it would be all this changed a lot. The feeling would be the same. It's such a beautiful place. Everything's like where it's supposed to be. Augusta National is just one of those unbelievable places that just love being. All right, Shane, hang around for a second. We'll do a commercial. We'll ask our buddy Rob to join us for a minute. I want to talk some more golf with you. And I want to get Rob to tell us about. Did you see what happened? What the Ole Miss did in the spring game?
Well, they had reported that they weren't going to play. I mean, they had a bunch of they had a bunch of they had all the sororities and fraternities come. They participated. They could bring all the beer and liquor they wanted in their coolers, and they didn't do anything football related.
The Coach Perry that used to let you play touch ball or something. Well, I have to practice on Fridays sometimes, or
every Friday. Yeah, every Friday before every game, whether it was a home game or a road game, we would go to. It would be either a walkthrough in the swamp if it was a home game, or a walkthrough in the opposing team stadium. I used to kick field goals and punt the whole time.
Oh, really?
The offensive line would go down from the numbers to the sideline, from the 25-yard line to the goal line. They would play two-hand touch. No running. They had to walk real fast. That's what the linemen did. Everybody just kind of goofed around.
Yeah.
That's what we did every year I was here, all 3 years. I loved to kick field goals and punt, and that's what I did.
There you go. Having fun. We get back where you sort of analyze the way DJ Lagway throws the football for our people who want to know what you think of it. Just break down his swing a little bit, would you? All right. We'll come back. We'll take a break, come back. Rob Browne will join us, and we'll get Shane to talk a little X's and O's football. It's right here on the Buddy Martin Show on Meldon Law Monday. Here's our friends from Meldon Law. Jeffrey, you do a show where you ask a lot of questions. I've got one for you right now, okay, regarding how do you know whether your case is being handled right and what to do about it. In medicine, you can get a second opinion if you're not satisfied with the doctor's opinion that they have. And do you have that in law? Can you do that with lawyers?
Yeah, buddy. As a matter of fact, we get quite a few calls from folks that have signed up, particularly with the big box law firms, that they do a hell of a good job of putting ads on TV, but after that, they don't really measure up to the way we try to create a client experience that's outstanding. And we're always willing to review a case and give a second opinion, just like with a doctor, because not all law firms are created equal.
I guess that's a normal thing. Just go to Meldon Law, Google it, and find out, and just give them a call. And And like you say, if you come in, you get to see a Meldon. You don't get shuffled off to somebody else. You get to see a Meldon, and that's good to know because a lot of people don't know how to do that stuff, like me. And maybe you can coach us. So, Meldon Law, they won't back down. They will take your questions about your case if you have a question.
Yes, whether it's a new case or an existing case, give us a call. We'd be glad to go over it with you. There's no charge to review your case with you, and a lot of times it makes good sense just to get a second opinion.
Good stuff from Meldon Law. They don't back down, but they will give you a second opinion. All right, thanks, Jeffrey. Buddy Martin, along with Shane Mathews, and they're waiting in the wings. Orange and Blue Room is Rob Browne from SEC Sidelines. And Shane, before we go to Rob, you've seen this. I heard someone say, well, Shane said he throws off his front foot. I don't know where that came from, but analyze what you thought of the way Lagway throws the ball. How is he different than what you're used to? If you were coaching him, would you change him? And he's a tight sparrow. He's accurate. Tell us what you saw.
Well, in practice, when you see him throw on air, he does throw off his front foot and ball kind of sails sometimes. But like I said, that's the best he's looked all camp, I thought, was in the spring game. And I thought he played pretty well. Throwing motions, it's just like golf swings, buddy. Everybody's got their own motion. You can work on your fundamentals. Mostly what you really need to work on is your lower body and playing quarterback. And at times he throws off his front foot. But look, like I said, everybody does it their own way. And he's talented, and I wouldn't mess with him.
Well, Coach Spurrier teaches two hands on the ball, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, he doesn't want you to pat the ball, but some people just have a natural deal where they pat the ball. Some of us did, some of us didn't. But just the basic fundamentals, he's pretty good there. But he's very athletic and has his own throwing motion, and there's no reason to mess with him unless he starts getting really erratic.
I like how he throws on the run. Looks really good when he does. Of course, we'll see when he gets real heat on him what happens. But all right, Shane Mathews, let's go back to the Orange Blue Room and see. Here's a guy who covers the whole SEC sidelines. You can hear him an hour after Shane's off the air in the morning. He, along with his team, including Brendan Martin and others, our buddy Rob Browne. Good evening to you, Rob. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, great. I love listening to what Shane just said. Shane, have you ever wanted to get into coaching?
Well, he did coach. He coached in the professional league last year.
I'm talking about in college. In college.
No, I did when I was – yeah, I did, but I played too long. And if I hadn't played that long, I probably would have. But they ain't got enough money for me to even sniff college football right now. I wouldn't want to put up with any of that.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody can, but no, listening to y'all, great stuff that Shane was talking about is just don't mess with something. And I like that, everybody's different, like your golf swing. And that's what Charles Barkley said happens to him every time he goes out to play in a golf tournament. Every pro wants to teach him how to play golf. And he goes, it's messed me up over time. And now he's, I think, focused back on just one person. But great listening to you. And I also like that attorney. He's a trust.
I love Charles. Can't nobody in the world help his golf swing. It's bad. It's so bad.
At least he's self-deprecating. I like that.
Yeah. So we were just talking about Florida's spring game, and Shane's one of those who says it really is irrelevant. Nothing they're doing now will have anything to do with what they do on opening day. But we like to window shop and kick tires, and at least see what's out there. And I talked about what little I saw of DJ Lagway. I love that guy. He has so much about him. Just the way he carries himself. I mean, you could, just like Urban Meyer used to say, he loved watching Spurrier's teams play. Shane, he said, I liked the way they took the field. I liked the way they broke the huddle. I liked the way they lined up. I liked the way they executed. Everything about. They had an air about them. And I think this kid has got that air about him. It's not just cockiness, it's composure. Knows where he's going to go. It seems like he's definitive, intentional in what he does. And I know I'm projecting way ahead of it, but boy, so far what I see, I really like a lot, even if it is window shopping, Rob.
Well, y'all are talking about spring practice, and Franz was on the show this morning. Less and less is happening in spring practice, and Franz says that spring games, and Doug Dean said this on the show early in the first segment. Spring games, A-Day, the orange and white game at Florida, whatever, are going to go the way of the dodo bird and the ivory-billed woodpecker. They're going to be extinct. But what did Ole Miss do in spring practice? They didn't even hit. They didn't tackle. I think they're trying to preserve
a tailgate party
for the fall.
A tailgate party.
Yeah. I mean, I go to Oxford a lot, but the difference is, Shane, you know this. You've got a lot of Ole Miss people in your family, and you're from Mississippi. They're going to be different this year for the first time in your lifetime or my lifetime. They're going to have the target on their back more so than they ever have, and you're starting to see these predictions of if Ole Miss could secure a home playoff game at Vaught Hemingway Stadium, that would catapult Jackson Dart to be the GOAT in Ole Miss football history. That's a lot to put on a program, but I mean, if they're in the SEC, I guess they should expect it. But what do you think about that?
Well, I've been a lifelong Ole Miss Rebel. I think Lane's done a wonderful job there, but again, they have not been able to win the games to get them over the hump. Yes, he's won 10 games or whatever. I think the first time ever in school history, 10 or 11 games, whatever it was.
It is 11.
I haven't even looked at their schedule this year. So I know they have a lot of guys from the transfer portal. We don't know how that's going to work out. Okay. Because you look at their team is basically like some of these NBA teams where they go and try to build dream teams or whatever. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm not one to jump the gun. I think having Jackson Dart back helps because he knows that offense. And, they've needed to play better defense. I think they've addressed that with some of the transfer guys. But I don't know what their schedule looks like. I know a lot of people, I think they got to play Georgia, Alabama. They got Florida. We know they got LSU. I mean, just because they got all these transfer portal guys doesn't mean they're just going to walk out there and win the damn game.
Yeah. Well, they've got Georgia in Oxford. They don't play Alabama this year, but and I think, but there, a lot of people will tell you what they do. And the Chaos opens, I guess, at midnight tonight. So they'll go out in the portal. They're trying to get the running back from Miami, Henry Parrish, and they've got what's his name, Logan Diggs, the transfer from LSU. I think he had knee surgery. He didn't play this spring, but it's just Lane Kiffin's smart. He's not putting out a depth chart. And I don't know who really is, but their fans, they're having a competition with their Grove Collective. It's pretty cool, y'all. Around the country, Ole Miss fans in different parts of the country competing, and they're trying to raise another $10 million. I mean, they are stacking the NIL money up there at Oxford. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. They got a lot of money.
Definitely a top 10 team to watch and see. Lane didn't screw it up. So I don't know what – I didn't watch any of the A-Day stuff at all. Did you, Rob?
Alabama's game?
Yeah.
A little bit. Kalen DeBoer, this is not your first SEC game. But the thing that they improved upon, the offensive line looked like they may be too deep on there. That's something good. I talked to a friend that really – Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider, Gary Harris, Channel 23 in Tuscaloosa. They really know Alabama football. And they didn't go to the Final Four, by the way, out in Phoenix. They stayed behind. Other people went for them. So Kalen DeBoer did something that never happens much in these days. He held one-on-one press conferences with different groups of the media. So they've been talking a lot and watching Alabama. They've got some running backs. You can't really – I'm not going to try to break it down position by position. They're still Alabama. They had 31 guys leave, 29 in the portal that were going to be processed out. They said, and 2 of the freshmen in that class went somewhere else. One went to Florida. But think about it. Caden Proctor goes home to Iowa for, $300,000? Now he's coming back. So, I mean, Alabama's going to be good, but they still might lose 2 or 3 games. They've lost 2 games each of the last 2 years, and they damn near lost 3 last year.
Yeah. All right, Shane, I'm going to these final takeaways on the Masters. We'll bring Franz in here and to join us. Unless you have any final comment on the Gators, go ahead if you do, Shane. Masters, how about Ludwig Oberg? Oh my gosh, what a player this guy is!
I've been picking him the last couple of weeks. I didn't pick him in the Masters because he didn't have any experience, but he's the number one golfer coming out of Texas Tech.
Yeah, and Sweden.
Yeah, which it's crazy that a guy that good can grow up in Sweden. Isn't it like dark and cold about majority of the year?
Yes.
So he's a stud, man. He is a stud, and he's going to be around. He's ranked 9th in the world right now. As like a 22-year-old or 23-year-old.
First major was this weekend.
Yeah, but he's ranked 9th in the world right now.
I know. I mean, look. First of all, he pulls his club. He doesn't mess around. He hits the shot, boom, and he hits it. He's a great ball striker. He's a hell of a putter. He made some comeback putts that blew my mind. You can't just hit that ball 20 feet past the hole and come back and make that, Augusta. And what poise and his personality and his smile. I mean, the women got to be crazy for him. He's a good-looking kid. He's really good. He's an amazing player. And I tell you what, if the LIV doesn't pay him $100 million to play there, he's going to be a big star on the PGA Tour, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, he was the number one player on the what do they call that? PGA University Tour or whatever. They get the points for he was the top NCAA player, which automatically gets you on the tour.
Yeah,
he was that guy. He's a really good player, and he will be around a long time.
I loved Max Homa. I really jumped on him about Thursday. None of my picks came through. You and I said Scotty Scheffler will probably win it, but we based on other picks. None of them came through. But the one guy I jumped on Thursday I loved was Max Homa. He had a look in his eye. He was so calm. And some of the comments he made were fantastic about, maybe this is how good I am. If I play out to my level, this is how I play, and I don't win. It's okay. I mean, he's really thought about this game. And he's so collective. He was so calm. He just couldn't get it done at the end. But Max Homa is on the rise. Watch for him. But what can you say about Scotty Scheffler? I mean, my word, if he keeps winning like this, he's 27? He's got 2 majors, right? And it's he might get 8.
Yeah, I mean he's won the players tournament over there in Jacksonville back-to-back years. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, he's the best ball striker I've ever seen ever. And with his demeanor, he's going to be around a long time, and everybody else is playing for second right now when he tees it up.
The great Shane Mathews, you can hear him pot up with Mathews tomorrow morning. He's got a spectacular guest on pot up. Who is it, Shane?
It's Buddy Martin, and then we're going to have the Gator golf coach, J.C. Deacon, will be joining us as well.
Look forward to seeing him, hearing him for sure. Well, as always, you can catch Shane in the morning. Right after that, you can hear Rob on SEC Sidelines, and then I'm the late night guy. I'm like David Letterman. It's Johnny Carson. Not a fucking
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Shane. Be well, my friend. Take care.
All right, take care. Take care, Shane.
Our buddy Franz is standing by. He's got a few comments to make, I'm sure. I would say can't get but 3 at a time on because of the Wi-Fi tonight. But Mr. Transbeard, writer par excellence, he's had a pretty good weekend. I'm sure he watched some of the Masters. I know he likes golf. And I know he watched some of the football because he sat next to me in the press box. Evening, Franz.
Good evening, guys. Rob, seems like only morning I saw you. Oh, it was.
And then we're on here with Letterman, late night with Buddy.
Yeah,
I like that late night with Buddy Martin, Franz Beard, and the crew. I like that ring. That's got something to it.
I think I might rather be at 6 o'clock in the morning instead of 9 o'clock at night. But good stuff. Well, good evening to you, friends, and we'll pick up on some of the things we talked about over the weekend. You wrote about them. Let's go right to the orange and blue game. Rob, you can join in if you'd like. I threw out a couple of names. You and I pretty much agreed on what we saw. I loved what I saw from Lagway, just the way he handled himself. And of course, we got some new names there. Was that Sammy Ball we saw, friends?
Jaden Ball.
Yeah.
And Florida beat Alabama for him. He's 238 pounds with wiggle. He's got feet and wiggle. And he is going to be on the field. Trust me. Florida, another kid who redshirted last year because of injury, Jacoby Jackson, another one who has some shiftiness. Florida has got a running back room that may be as good or better than anybody in the SEC, including the Georgia Bulldogs. I know a lot of people are going to find that hard to believe, but do you know which running back in the SEC has the most yards returning in his career? Montrell Johnson. Yeah.
Well, Shane just said the same thing, so you're echoing what he said too as well.
I was impressed with the wide receivers. Marcus Burke made a catch on his shoe tops. It reminded me of the immaculate reception by Franco Harris, the way he never broke stride, picks it off his shoe tops, and keeps going. And from what the comments were by Billy Napier, he's a kid that suddenly the lights have gone on in every phase of his life. And he's ready to be the player that we thought he was going to be coming out of high school. Tremendous talent, but now he's putting it together in a way that's going to make him viable as a receiver. Aiden Mizell has great speed. We didn't get to see Andy Jean. We didn't get to see Hawkins or Abrams. Billy Gonzalez told me, he says, we can go vertical every single play. They couldn't do that a year ago. And the other reason they're going to be able to do that is their offensive line. They've got 5 offensive linemen who can play. They still have to get they've got to get another interior lineman for that second unit, and these tackles on the second unit who struggled a bit Saturday. Got to remember, Austin Barber, Cameron Waits were injured, didn't play. So they got 4 tackles who can play. They got to have another guard, no question about that. Jake Slaughter from Trinity Catholic down there in Ocala. He is a stud. He is a stud. People don't realize he probably had the worst game at center of any kid in the entire country. Of all the centers in Division I football last year, he probably had the worst opening game against Utah.
Yeah, true freshman against a team that loved the blitz. He had to make the calls. I mean, my gosh.
Did you know that at the end of the year, he was Florida's highest graded offensive lineman by far? He is here's what he told me. It was interesting. He said Graham Mertz and I can't complete each other's sentences. And then he paused. He says, yet. In other words, it's coming. That's how close they are. And Graham Mertz, as he even said, now he's got tackles in Manuel and Crenshaw Dixon who sit there and say, we'll tell him, okay, he's coming on the left side or he's coming on the right side. And he said, just one more reminder, because he's got Jake doing the same thing. Florida's offensive line going to be vastly improved this year. The defense, the secondary, the 3 guys over the top that they got, Asa Turner, Triquezy, Bridges, and DJ Douglas are going to be difference makers. I like George Gums off the edge, the transfer from Kent State. He's going to be a force. And Grayson Howard, Pup Howard in the middle, is a man's
Auburn
man.
guy there, brother, Rob Howard, right?
Which one?
Franz, isn't he from Auburn? Howard?
No. He transferred to South Carolina.
Oh, South Carolina.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, he's 6'4", he's 245, and he is the defensive equivalent of Jaden Ball. You watch him, those quick little steps like this that allow you to avoid getting picked off. It's these guys at linebacker who have the big strides, they end up getting picked off by the interior linemen and stuff like that.
Yep.
And then one thing you got to have is you got to have a middle linebacker that can avoid that.
Yep.
These guys that have those quick little jab steps like that, he's that guy. I'm telling you.
Yep. Yep.
Going to be a better team. Now, does it equate to a better record? That's the question we're all going to have, and we're going to be pounded for the next 6 months or 4 months or 5 months, however long it is before we tee it up. That remains to be seen. And I was on a radio show a couple of days ago, and one of the things I told people, Florida should be vastly improved, but you never know. You can have a string of injuries. Somebody you play along the line can have a string of injuries. You may end up winning games that you automatically had checked off the list as saying you can't, there's no way. But who's to say that Georgia is going to go through this season healthy? What happens if Carson Beck goes down?
Yep.
They don't have a backup quarterback.
Let's talk about, let's talk a little bit about the season. Since the season hasn't changed, but we've had a little football, it's always nice to have a little morsel of football. When I come back, I'm going to talk to you two guys about the romantic aspect of our profession. We get to go to the ball yard, sit in the ballpark, and watch football again. There's still that little boy in us. It's always certain about something about that. I'm going to tell you about two guys in a minute. First, I'm going to tell you about North Central Florida's newest premier independent diagnostic facility for MRIs. Titan MRI, now open serving the greater Gainesville, North Central Florida area, focused on you, the patient, having a great customer service experience. They know most people lead a busy life, although they have regular hours for businessmen and women. They are available by appointment at evenings if you want to make them. You can go there and get a nighttime or evening or weekend appointment to fit your schedule. So check them out. MRI equipment is modern. MRI unit has one of the largest bores openings of any newer or high-strength MRI units. 71 centimeters allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. So they accommodate you, whatever you need. TitanMRI.com. Check them out. All right, guys, let me show you a picture of two dudes who are happy to be where they are right now, okay? These guys are really happy dudes right here, and they've done this a time or two, I believe. This is not their first rodeo. Let's see if I can get them pulled up here. Oh, they are right there.
There you go.
There we are. That's Franz and I. Our buddy Bob Redmond in the back looks like he's falling asleep there, Franz. So this is Franz and I's 50,000th trip to the press box. I just want to show that because it's almost hallowed ground, like we talked about, Rob, a long time ago. It's not quite the Sistine Chapel, but it's a special place. Press boxes ain't what they used to be, but they're still special. And Franz was special to be back in the press box, albeit one of the worst in the league, on Saturday, and to watch a little bit of football. Rob, I know you're a junkie. You love going up there. You worked in Auburn a number of years, and I know it always feels good to get back in the old press box.
I mean, it does, because you're around a lot of other people that care about true grit journalism, getting the story out there, and have a lot of respect for the game and the people that play the game. But it's the stories that you read about things that happen during the game that you really don't see, unless you've got the full 22 camera and you're back there watching tape like the coaches do. But yeah, I think the more you read, and you do it a lot more in the off season, stuff that, like Franz, I like to say what Franz puts out in the morning on GatorBaitMedia.com is essentially show prep. If you look at it, it gives you meat on the Gators with the SEC and the national picture in college sports. And when you write really good opinion pieces, buddy. You've seen a lot in the depth. You've got a lot of savings in your mental bank, and you can go in there and draw from that. And so can Franz, and I do too. I'm a junkie for going to any game, anywhere. But the bottom line is we got to stop this crap of trying to push the press over in the corner like they've done at some stadiums and put basically a double wide up on the top of the stadium in the corner. Your media, look, their job is to question you and to hold you accountable. Some coaches don't like them. They're not going to like everything you write about them. But true grit journalism it's suffering a lot because a lot of the young guys today are throwing up just 700, 800 words and hoping shit sticks. That's not journalism. Journalism, if it's 3,500 words needed to tell that story, then so be it. But you still got to check your sources. I just look at a lot of problems, grammar, everything. But the reality, you're telling the stories of the people who play the games and stories about the strength coach. They spend more time than anybody with the coaches. If you don't have day in and day out beat writers covering these stories and writing about them, the fans are not going to even get a glimpse into, in this case, Gator football. They'll just be getting the flyby view. Franz, that was fun this morning. And you're talking about Triquezy Bridges. That guy's been around a while. I think he's from Lynette or Valley, Alabama. I remember him being, it sounds like, cough, congestion, sneezing, Triquezy Bridges, take 2 doses in the morning. He's got a great name for NIL, but I think he was one of the top players in the OA area 4 or 5 years ago. Didn't he go out to Oregon?
Went to Oregon and transferred back to Florida.
He's a stud, damn good athlete. Yeah.
Had offers from everybody. Chose Florida. And, this is a case of Triquezy Bridges, Asa Turner from Washington, and DJ Douglas, who's going to be DJ Douglas, write this down. He's going to be an All-American. He is going to be an All-American safety. He was the best safety in Tulane secondary. You got to remember, they won 11 ball games this past year. They won like 12 or 13 the year before. This guy can really, really play. And Florida found 3 guys whose job is they don't get behind you. They do not. And what's been the real problem the last 2 years, last 3 years, but the last 2 years in particular? How many times have we bemoaned the fact that guys are getting behind our safeties the whole time?
Back to the storytellers in the memory bank. This guy had one like few people. He went out with class and style this weekend. I'm proud to say he's a friend of mine. And God has provided him opportunities. It's like God gave Vern the pictures, and Vern provided the words. He's some of the greatest calls in the history of sports, not least which was Tiger Woods' putt on the 16 that dropped in. This last Masters, I was surprised this morning at some of the people's snide comments online about him. When he's at the end of his career, people were taking pot shots at him. But I think Shane said it best. He's one of my favorite of all time. When I go back and look at the history of SEC football, the storyteller is going to be Vern Lundquist. So I want to say, good job, Vern. Well done. I know you'll miss what you're doing. We'll miss you, and thanks for all the memories. He's got a few.
Buddy. One of the things I remember so well is 2008. Florida has won the national championship on a Monday night. Tuesday morning, early morning, we're sitting there at the hotel in the press room. Urban Meyer comes in, and to your right is Brent Musburger. I'm sitting to your left, and to my left is Vern Lundquist. And I felt like I am a sandwich in the middle of greatness. I really did. And listening to Vern Lundquist, listening to Brent Musburger, 2 guys that I don't think will ever be as appreciated as they should have been.
Yeah.
Marvelous storytellers.
Well, Franz, I'll say this about Vern Lundquist. Vern Lundquist, you were the meat in a broadcast heaven sandwich. Brent Musburger, you are looking live at Florida Field in Gainesville tonight. And Vern Lundquist, just unbelievable. ability to tell stories. And I'm ready to get him back on sidelines here very soon. But hey, buddy, I'll say this. Anyone that's trying to rip on Vern Lundquist is just jealous. As my kids all say this unprovoked, they say it, that growing up in our household, if we weren't on the road at an Auburn game or wherever Auburn was playing, we were watching with Grandbob. That's what they call my dad. Vern Lundquist. My 25-year-old son has been saying this for years. Iconic. That's football Saturday in the South. The great storytellers. You know, I was in Oxford recently, twice in the last 4 weeks. You go by Faulkner's house. What was he? The great storyteller. Who were the fugitive poets? The great storytellers about the agrarian South. We're going to miss, like you, more than we can imagine, Vern Lundquist being there every time at the Masters.
Rob,
Lauren Smith
right.
was on Friday with us. You have to respect these people. I don't care if they're 100 years old or 70. They are legends, and they make it more special. I'm going to miss it.
Remind me to tell you my story about being in Oxford and going to the home of who you just mentioned. I forgot now.
William Faulkner.
William Faulkner. We went there to his house, myself and a guy from the xtHE Scouts in the middle of the night. Got a cab, went out there and climbed the fence. God. It was a full moon. Nobody was home. We stood there in the driveway in awe of Faulkner's home. Yeah. Right there. It was incredible.
Yeah. Roanoke is what it's called.
Yeah. Back to Vern, everybody's got a Vern story. My story with Vern is that when I was working in Denver, my friend Joe Williams and I got a call from CBS and asking if we'd like to have the two broadcasters for Sunday's Bronco game as our guests on Friday. We said, sure, we'd like to have them. Send them all over. It was Terry Bradshaw, and he brought a guy named Vern Lundquist. Came to our station. We had an amazing, supposed to be a 15-minute show. It was like an hour and 20 minutes, those two guys. They were great. Yeah. I knew Vern a little bit, not much. I got to know Terry really well. I became one of my best friends, wrote his book, etc., worked with CBS, all out of that. But Vern and Terry worked together in the booth on play-by-play and color. It was rough the first couple of years. They had a rough go. In fact, I was talking to their former producer today about how Terry was green and all over the place, whatever. And as it turned out, Terry went to the Hall of Fame. He picked Vern to induct him to the Hall of Fame. He spoke for him. I was in Canton that day when he introduced him. Unfortunately, as life will do, it took some twists and turns, and Terry and Vern went sideways, and their relationship sort of dissolved 30-something years ago. So I thought about Vern. I thought about Terry. And yesterday I texted Terry and said, what do you think of your boy Vern Lundquist, going on his final day? And they hadn't spoken in years. He said, I was with Vern last week and we had a great visit. That warmed my heart to know those two guys had made up and gotten together, and because they're both wonderful people. But that day those two guys walked in that station changed my life completely. Because without that happening, I wouldn't have gone to work for CBS. I wouldn't have known Terry. Would have just wonderful. So I want to say thank you to Vern and what a special call he made. I noticed that as he was saying goodbye, he was very careful not to step on anything in the last couple came through. Scheffler came through on 16. What was ironic was Scheffler was a Dallas native and Vern's a Dallas native. Vern was there to call his last time with Scheffler making that putt there. And I was listening to see what Vern did. He was so careful not to step on anything he said or put himself into the story. And what's the Australian's name? The guy, Ian, does 17. And as they were going off the green, Vern said, now to 17. And Ian said, Thank you for that throw, Vern. What a great thing. And thank you for everything you've done for our profession. It's a great moment.
Yeah. You know, buddy, we have, we're missing guys. They're leaving the profession. They're retiring. They're getting old. You think about the guys we grew up with, you and I, John Ferguson, talking about a foggy night in Baton Rouge. It never rains in Death Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Our boy up in Georgia, run, Lindsay, run, guys, all these guys like that, Otis Boggs, it's a high, lazy spiral. I know what a high spiral is, but I never figured out what made one lazy and what's the difference between a lazy one and a hard-working one. I don't know, but Otis did, and Otis was great at it. And on and on and on. These guys that we had the opportunity to grow up listening to. And I fear for the broadcasting profession because it's gotten to a point now where we've got to have too many pretty faces and not enough little elves like Vern Lundquist, who aren't going to win any pretty man contests, but by golly, they know what they're doing. And it seems like we've replaced these guys with all the pretty faces. Does it seem that way to you guys?
Yeah, and I think we got a bunch of people wearing skinny jeans and pink suits. These are men. Act like it. And I'll tell you something. Vern Lundquist and Brent Musburger. I remember getting to meet him in college working football games. He would come in on a Wednesday with the crew at that time for CBS, and he would take us out there and play touch football. We'd play touch football game in the stadium. And I think he's from Chicago, but he would talk to everybody and get to know everybody. And you think about these great announcers. I tell you, I think about growing up, Kurt Gowdy, Charlie Jones. You think about Jack Crystal, retired in 2011 at Mississippi State, 58 years. He gave his speech and he said, well, I know I haven't won the championships that others have, but my 58 years at Mississippi State have been the greatest of my life. I am the American dream. He said, my parents were immigrants from Lithuania and Latvia, came to America with $10, and look what I became. I live in the greatest country in the history of the world with the greatest people. My heart goes out to all of you. I'll miss you, but I'll never forget you. You think about John Ward at Tennessee. You think about, God, we lost Jim Fife too early, lost Rod Bramlett too early. But you think about these great announcers listening, Buddy and Franz, driving back from a game late at night, going up and down the radio, volume 10, listening for that AM signal. You could pick up WSB, AM 750. Lauren, what do you got? Well, there, Georgia just in a struggle down here. A minute 21 to go. The dogs have got to hang on there. 81 seconds, dogs. You got to hang in there. Come on there. He just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot. Who's going to tell these stories now? Who's going to write about them? Now, it's not just the great announcers. It's the great writers. And you won't get better guests on a show than the great writers like y'all, because you think about what you're saying it, because you've written it. I mean, you could go get some high-tech AI to make you a mosaic or a fresco like you have in the Sistine Chapel, but I'd much prefer what Michelangelo did laying on his back at 36 years of age. Vern Lundquist will be missed, and I can't wait to get him on the show. And just like I said, we tell these people, you know what you should do every chance you get to people? Thank them for what they do and ask what you can do to help them. I mean, y'all two freaking get it. Very few people do. Most of these people on TV, you're right, Franz, it's all about them. Your job is to tell the story and not make you the center of the story if you're on TV. Not being on The Bachelor or some stupid show like that. It's to tell the story about the people that play the games that we love and so the everyday fan can relate to them. That's what Vern did. That's what Brent Musburger did. We're missing out. You're missing out, people, and I don't know who's going to replace them. Somebody's got to.
Well, this time, this is going to be about me, okay? And me says it's time to go. We're at the end of the hour. And I always love having you guys on to wax nostalgic, friends. We do this a lot, Franz and I do a lot. We go back a long way, Francis. We have a lot of stories in our system someplace. And, the people like Vern Lundquist are, I won't say the voices of our youth, but the narrative was told by them. We lived it. They told it. We wrote it. And we were blessed to be able to do that. So let me say I love having you guys on. Appreciate your friends. All the stuff you do on GatorBait, and don't forget, check out GatorBait and subscribe to this channel too, because Franz is as good as there is about storytelling. He knows a lot about it, and he's getting to be the grandfather of the beat. He's like Daddy Longlegs. He's the guy everybody says, well, Franz, what happened back then? Well, I'll tell you, Sonny. Sit down on my knee. Let me tell you the story about what happened. So anyway, he's not as old as me, but he's seen as much. And Rob, doing a great job on the new show. Tell them about what you got coming up the next couple of days, Rob.
Got coming up in the morning. Gonna have a fun show. Chris Lee, Southeastern 14, Yancey Porter, Rebel Yell Hotline, Rodney Orr, Tider Insider. Was texting with Robert Clay from SEC Shorts. They're going to be on the show Monday with us. That's a lot of fun. Those guys are having a lot of fun with the SEC. So every day something new, but we are here to serve and tell the stories with the best storytellers like that. Thanks for having me.
They got a new religion in Lexington, friends. Looks like, boy, they on a fire out there, huh?
Well, I got to tell you what. One of my business partners told me 30 years ago. He said, "If you aim low, you'll probably hit your target." That's what they just did at Kentucky basketball. They just aimed low. They hit their target. Goodness, stuff's going on, buddy. Man, one more thing, and let me throw it in there.
Okay.
Sam Walters from the Villages, played at Alabama this year, is in the transfer portal, and I see orange and blue in that boy's future.
I'd like to know if there's any more things going on in the portal, because it opened back up tonight. I'm waiting to hear what may have happened, who went and who came. So tomorrow morning,
all hell is breaking loose, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll find out about it tomorrow on Rob's show, I guess, and also Shane's show. So be listening up for that. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Great job by both of you. All right.
Thanks for having us.
Rob Browne coming to you live here on the Buddy Martin Show on a Monday, Meldon Law Monday. All right, guys. Talk to you soon, Rob. We get you clicked off here, find you where you are, and we'll do our thanks to the folks at Renstar Medical Research who do a fabulous job for us and in our community. Renstar Medical Research has been around for a while. They're local people. They're interested in what happens in our community, looking out for our health care. They support worthy causes, including this show. We've supported this show for a long time, Renstar Medical Research. So they want you to know about clinical trials, why they're important, because they allow new therapies to be introduced to the public safely because of their clinical trials. And they would not exist without the commitment of volunteers like you. If you should decide to participate in Renstar's clinical trials, you may receive a study-related medication and procedures at no cost to you or your insurance company. You can contact them at renstar.net and check it out, see if you're eligible. You might need to gain new access to new investigational medications or devices that are not otherwise available, and receive compensation and compensation for your time and travel to take part. Check them out. Renstar Medical Research, dedicated to bringing you a new opportunity to participate in medical science to our local community. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Thank you very much to our guests tonight, Shane Mathews, Rob Browne, and Franz Beard. We're back tomorrow night. We'll have one of our special guests tomorrow night. It's going to be, well, you'll wait to see. Check it out. Same time, same station on The Buddy Martin Show.